Admiral, Field Marshal, welcome in. Welcome. Please, come, have a sit. Close the door behind you, please. This is going to be a private conversation. Yes? No? No, no. Just bear with me here. I just got back an hour ago from Windsor with a very uncomfortable meeting with the King. Now, I have had my concerns during this war that there might be a bit of back and forth between the two branches of the largest service forces in the British Empire, and I would be proven correct. And now I had to sit for 3 days in Windsor Castle answering questions from the King. So, I do not want to hear your explanations. I've heard quite enough. The most decorated Navy man in British history, and the most decorated Highlander, Scotsman in British history, have been... what is the right word? Pushed aside for your petty rivalries. Commander Langston and Major MacDonald have their orders. Orders to fulfill the mission of His Majesty's Navy and the British Army, respectfully. And you want me to sort out why you both are called in here today. Well, I'll give you the answer. I had to explain to the King why supply shipments going to our forces on Okinawa were delayed. On top of that, I had to explain to him why the new cruiser programs haven't gone into effect yet. And it's not just because of Parliament, it's because of you both. You have your officers, your supply commanders, your men have been playing politics with the military. There is some amount of politicking we allow in the military, but this has gone too far. I understand the rivalry between the British Navy and Army goes back far longer than any of us care to think. That is not an excuse to put the grand mission, the goal of the British Army or the Royal Navy at risk. What your men have done, your men, is throw a wrench into a perfectly working machine. I don't know what to say. As Minister of Defense, I can only do so much to sort out the rivalries. But now it's coming down to you both. Because the Prime Minister is breathing down my neck. Churchill is breathing down my neck. Navy officers who understand the frustration that Langston has been dealing with, and his superiors in the Admiralty who support him, they're angry. Scotland's Parliament is considering a bill to no longer allow recruitment of specialists from the Highlands if they're going to be treated as second-hand troops for Major MacDonald's special forces. Experiments, they might be. Langston is not a career Navy man like you. He is, like you, a career Navy man, yes, but Forgive me, I'm tripping over my words. I have not had a full night's rest in some time. Langston is a career Navy man. He's different than you, because you, sir, come from a great, prestigious Navy line of admirals. He does not. He comes from a line of soldiers, warriors, knights, if you go back far enough. And for you, Field Marshal, I expect better of a man who has had so much success in his army career than to let petty squabbles get in the way of completing the job. So, before you all even think to ask, you're not being sacked. Not yet. I just hope you both realize that both of those men are eligible for promotion. And there are a lot of people who want that promotion to not go through. I am one of those people who believes that both of them should have been promoted to the highest ranks years ago, particularly when they earned their second Victoria Crosses. Or did you happen to forget that Langston has 2 Victoria Crosses, and MacDonald also has 2 Victoria Crosses, the highest award for valor in this country? So the question remains is, what am I supposed to do with the 2 of you? And I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. The first thing you are going to do, Admiral, is you are going to apologize to the commanders who are affected by your supply issues and the issues with the heavy cruisers that you knew about. Then you are to start going through records, find out who's responsible for those issues, and bring them in front of me and the Prime Minister. And you, Field Marshal, are to figure out who's been thieving off the Special Forces supply for years. Figure out where it's been going, and no, it hasn't been stolen, because we found some of their equipment in other regiments, and it wasn't loaned. These are British line regiments. These are our regiments. And we're finding them with equipment that was earmarked for MacDonald's forces. You're going to figure out who's responsible for that. Bring them before me and the Prime Minister. You each have a month. Don't give me those looks. We're not doing this. You have a month. Because in a month, I'm announcing the new cruiser program, which is going to be approved by Parliament. And the last thing I need, or the Prime Minister needs, is another excuse for the men on the other side of this aisle who would do well to criticize us all for what has happened in the various failures during the Italian War, small though they were. The near loss of a battleship, Admiral, to your heavy cruiser captains being incapable of targeting the thing that provides the greatest threat. And you, Field Marshal, are not immune from this tribunal of mine. You, sir, have allowed equipment, dedicated equipment, specialized equipment, new equipment to be left in warehouses. New climbing fittings for the mountaineers that MacDonald's been trying to train. Guess where we found that? In Essex. What is climbing equipment doing in Essex, Field Marshal? There's no mountains in Essex. There's no great... We found canoes for them to use, as a way to navigate rivers and fjords. Do you know where we found them? Hmm? London. I don't know if you just cannot fathom where to put cargo manifests and ledgers, but I suggest you start finding them. And Admiral Langston is to design those cruisers. I am making a direct order signed by the Prime Minister, which I have right here on my desk in that folder that I'm going to hand to you. Those are Langston's orders, coming straight from the top. And if you look right down there, open it up. Do you see that stamp down there? Do you know whose stamp that is? That's the King's stamp. Orders are coming from the top. Because of this entire fiasco we're having to deal with. And you, Field Marshal, also have a similar folder with the same stamp in it. MacDonald is to have full access to whatever equipment he needs. No questions asked. If you need a ledger, he will provide you one. I will not tolerate politicking just because you both disagree with your representatives of your branch's actions, I guess. Just because you disagree with them on anything, could be politics, could be strategy, does not give an excuse to hamper their efforts. And as Minister of Defense, I can't believe I'm having to say this, but our goal is to defend the British Empire, not stab each other in the back like the Roman Praetorian Guard, to appoint a new head of the state, in this case, the favourite poster boy for the British public. Just... what am I supposed to do? You've put us in a very terrible position. The King is furious. And I want you to understand it was only because Langston and MacDonald intervened that you both did not lose your jobs. The only reason they did that was to make sure that your successes during the Italian War could be the defining moments of your career. So, here's what's going to happen. You have that month deadline. You will find everything you can find, and you will bring it before me and the Prime Minister. And we will sit there with the various secretaries and experts of your respective branches, and we're going to find who is responsible. And when we do, punishments will be swift and uncaring. We cannot afford infighting, especially in wartime. If you want an example, the invasion of Gallipoli by the Austrians many years ago went very well for them. They had some of the best maps of the Straits of the Bosporus that anyone had access to. We sent over envoys to the Austro-Hungarians, asking for copies of the maps to map out the straits. We had survey crews go out, do maps of the approaches to the Bosporus, to Constantinople. We had the city laid out as accurately as we could get it. We had the Royal Air Corps photographers fly overhead for weeks taking photographs of the city of Constantine to scale it from maps of the city we already had, to make sure that when the Royal Navy was able to breach the waterways, the Royal Army knew where to go. Those maps nearly did not make it during our invasion of Constantinople, and we had to pull in more ships to help support the invasion because the maps to both branches were withheld. And you see, here's the thing. Those maps, you both know where I found them. On your desks. Sitting under a pile of approvals that were never done. We are very lucky that the maps they had were accurate enough. When this situation is over, it might be time for you both to retire. You're dismissed. One more thing, besides closing the door on the way out. I want you both to know that Sir William Langston and Sir Angus MacDonald are both being promoted very soon. Admiral Langston and General MacDonald will receive news of their promotion this afternoon. And you two will deliver those phone calls. Now, if you could please leave, I need to have a cup of tea and figure out how on earth I'm supposed to explain to the Prime Minister that everything will be handled by you two correctly.